Most people think toxic people keep bothering you, disrespecting you, pushing you around, or trying to get under your skin for one simple reason, because they're just bad people. And yes, some people really are. But that's not the scariest part. The scariest part is this. A lot of people do not keep crossing your boundaries only because they are cruel. They keep doing it because they saw a signal, a very small signal, a very quiet signal, but enough to tell them something important. Enough to tell them they can touch your emotional world, throw you off balance, and you probably won't really stop them. It starts small. One sarcastic comment, one dismissive look, one broken promise, one joke that goes too far, one little moment that doesn't feel right. And then they watch. Do your facial expressions change? Do you rush to explain yourself? Do you try to keep the peace, even when you feel uncomfortable? Do you blame yourself for feeling hurt in the first place? If the answer is yes, that is often the moment everything begins. Because from that second on, in their mind, you are no longer just a kind person. You become someone who can be tested, someone who can be pushed one step further, someone who will swallow it one more time, someone who will tolerate, rationalize, hope, excuse, instead of making them stop. And here's the truth. Very few people say clearly, disrespect almost never starts with one huge violation. It starts with very small intrusions, repeated over and over, until you almost forget what it feels like to be treated properly. That is why some people live inside the same painful cycle for years. They keep asking, why does this person keep treating me this way? But the deeper question is usually this. What have I been unconsciously showing them that made them believe they could keep going? This is where a lot of people wake up. Toxic people do not always look for the weakest person. A lot of the time, they look for the kindest person. The one who knows how to be patient. The one who doesn't want to make things tense. The one who always tries to understand. The one who keeps giving more chances. The one who leads with kindness, but hides their boundaries behind it. And if you do not recognize this early, they usually will not stop. They will keep going until you change the way you show up in this world. If you have ever realized that you stayed silent for too long in front of things you never should have accepted, type 1" the comments. Let that be the moment you stop pretending you were okay with it. Before someone tries to control you long-term, they usually test one very simple thing. They want to know whether you are easy to trigger. They do not need a huge fight. They just need a small spark. One strategic comment, one cold tone, one dismissive look, one tiny act of disrespect, and then they watch. Does your face change? Does your voice shake? Do you react immediately? Do you rush to explain? If yes, they just got what they wanted most, your reaction. Toxic people do not always need to win with logic. They need the feeling that they can touch your emotions. The second they see that one sentence from them can throw you off balance, they feel power. A coworker takes a swipe at you during a meeting. A family member makes a cutting remark in front of other people. Someone sends you one cold text, and you think about it all evening. Someone says something rude on purpose, then sits there, waiting to see whether you lose your calm. If you react on instinct, you just gave them their answer. And the answer is, yes, you can get to me. A lot of disrespect survives because it is fed by the emotions of the person being targeted. The more shaken you look, the more motivated they become. The more they see you heat up, the more they feel they can control the emotional rhythm of the moment. But here's the difference between a reactive person and a grounded one. Most people react immediately to release emotion. Strong people create a small gap before they respond. That gap may only be 3 seconds, but those 3 seconds are enough to reverse the power. Next time someone says something that makes you want to snap back immediately, don't. Keep your face steady. Do not raise your voice. Do not rush to prove anything. Just let 3 seconds pass. 1, 2, 3. Then answer with something so short, the other person does not know what to do with it. Okay, noted. Interesting. If that's what you think, I heard you. Sounds simple, right? That is exactly why it works. Because they expected you to explain. You didn't. They expected you to get emotional. You didn't. They expected you to prove that you were not weak. You didn't do that either. And suddenly, they lose momentum. The moment you stop reacting on instinct, you take back control over your emotional state. And a person who can hold their emotions before they ever speak always becomes harder to play with. Strong people do not react to everything. They decide what deserves their energy. If that hits you, stay with me. Because reaction is only the surface. There is something quieter than that, something even more damaging. And a lot of people do it every single day, without realizing how much it costs them. They keep defending their life like it is on trial. Reaction is only the top layer. There is something deeper, something quieter, something that weakens your position in ways most people never notice. It is this. You keep explaining yourself too much. There is a kind of exhaustion a lot of people carry every day. The exhaustion of constantly having to justify their own life. Why they made that choice. Why they didn't go. Why they left the job. Why they said no. Why they changed. Why they no longer want to tolerate something. From the outside, this can look polite, mature, reasonable, respectful. But here's what most people miss. In many situations, explaining too much does not make you seem more rational. It makes you seem like someone who needs other people's approval in order to feel at peace with your own decisions. You are no longer just sharing your choice. You are quietly asking permission to live by it. And controlling people hear that very quickly. When someone asks, "Why did you quit your job?" and you give them a long, detailed story, just so they won't think you were reckless, selfish, ungrateful, unstable, or foolish, you are doing something deeper than talking. You are placing them in the role of judge. When someone asks, "Why aren't you coming?" and you panic explain 10 reasons, so they won't feel offended, the hidden message is, I need you to be okay with this decision. People who are truly grounded do not say more. They usually say less. Most people explain to be understood. Strong people say what needs to be said, and then stop. Because that's what I chose. That's my decision. That works for me. That feels right to me. That's it. No speech. No emotional over-justifying. No trying to make everyone comfortable with your life. The more you explain yourself to people who like controlling you, the more they believe they have the right to evaluate you. And worse, you start believing it too. You begin living in a mindset where your choices only feel valid once other people approve them. If you've ever noticed that you have spent too long explaining yourself just to be accepted, type 1" the comments. Let it be your reminder that from this day forward, your life is not a courtroom, and not everyone gets a seat at the judge's table. Maybe you are not weak. Maybe you just got too used to defending your own existence. And the more you defend your choices, the easier people feel stepping deeper into your boundaries. Which leads to the next truth. A boundary without consequences is not a boundary. It's just a polite request. A lot of people say they have boundaries, but real boundaries are not defined by what you say when you are calm. They are defined by what happens after someone crosses the line. If someone keeps cancelling on you last minute, and you keep waiting for them anyway, they are not learning that your time matters. They are learning that your time can be wasted. If someone only remembers you when they need help, and you are always there instantly, they are not going to wake up one day filled with gratitude. They are going to get used to it. If a coworker repeatedly steps over your work, interrupts you, or takes credit in subtle ways, and you keep letting it slide, they are not learning that you are kind. They are learning that you probably will not resist. Human beings learn through consequences. If someone crosses your boundary and nothing changes for them, they will do it again. That is where so many people get this wrong. They think saying it once is enough. They think, well, I told them I was uncomfortable, and now the other person should automatically understand. No, a boundary without consequence is usually just a polite plea. You do not need to start a war. You do not need to create drama. You do not need to threaten anyone. You just need to change access. Someone disrespects you, they get less access. Someone only reaches out when they need something. Do not stay instantly available. Someone repeatedly makes you uncomfortable and then acts like nothing happened. They should not keep receiving the easy version of you. Reply slower. Prioritize them less. Stop rushing to help. Stop keeping one-sided relationships alive. With your energy alone. This is not revenge, it is information. It teaches them that how they treat you determines how much access they continue to have. A person who got used to you always being there will start sensing that something changed. A person who thought access to you was automatic will feel what it means when it is no longer free. A person who used to speak to you however they wanted will begin noticing that their attitude now has a cost. You are teaching people how to treat you through what you continue to allow. And this is where the deeper question appears. If boundaries are so necessary, if consequences matter so much, then why do so many people understand all of this and still cannot do it? Why do they know they should stand tall and still shrink? Why do they know they should say no and still say yes? Why do they know they should leave and still stay? The answer is usually not a lack of skill. It is something deeper. Fear. This is the deeper reason. The reason many people know exactly what they should do, but still can't do it. They are too afraid that other people won't like them. You are not weak. A lot of people in this position are not weak. They are not stupid, not blind, not careless. They see exactly when someone is crossing the line, but the thing that makes them step back is often very simple. They are too afraid of being disliked, afraid of being hated, afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of being seen as difficult, afraid that if they stop being soft, other people will become cold, afraid that if they do not apologize, everything will fall apart, afraid that if they stop fixing the situation, they will lose the relationship forever. And that fear makes people betray themselves in very small ways, so small that after enough repetition, it starts feeling like personality. They smile when they should go cold. They apologize when they should stand firm. They explain when they should stay quiet. They stay when they should leave. And slowly, they stop seeing it as self-betrayal. They start calling it kindness, or maturity, or being understanding, or being the bigger person. But here is the truth. Most people do not want to face. Kindness without self-respect is very easy to exploit. Because some people stay around you not because they deeply value you, but because you are always the one who softens first, the one who lowers your tone first, the one who gives one more chance, the one who lets things slide, the one who swallows the discomfort to keep the connection alive. And once they get used to that version of you, they begin treating it like a given. If you have ever noticed that you have gone against your own truth just to keep other people comfortable, type 1" the comments. Let that be your quiet reminder. Your kindness deserves to stand beside your self-respect, not be traded away to keep anyone around. You are not lacking value. You have just spent too long trading your value for acceptance. And here is the hardest truth in this video. You cannot have strong boundaries and stay pleasant to everyone. If you want respect, you have to accept that some people will not like the newer version of you. They will say you changed. They will say you became colder. They will say you are harder to deal with. They will complain that you are not as easy as before. That is not proof you are wrong. That is proof they are losing access to the power they used to have. And the moment you stop living to preserve approval at all costs, you start living from something much stronger, self-respect. And once that becomes real, the balance of power changes. This is the moment the whole game shifts. Not when you get louder, not when you win an argument, not when you scare someone, but when you become truly okay, even without them. That is power. A lot of relationships stay unbalanced because one person lives in fear of being left, and the other person can feel it. The one who always texts first, the one who always apologizes first, the one who keeps dragging the conversation forward, the one who keeps reviving a dying connection, the one who keeps carrying the emotional weight alone just to stop everything from collapsing. When you are always that person, the message is obvious. I need you more than you need me, and that message weakens you in the eyes of anyone unworthy. So what happens when you stop? You stop texting first, just to keep the rhythm alive. You stop rescuing every silence. You stop pretending a one-sided friendship is still alive just because you keep feeding it. You stop returning to save people who only remember you when they need something. You begin building a life of your own joy, your own goals, your own rhythm, your own standards, your own self-respect. You stop treating someone's presence as the thing that makes you valuable. And this is when life begins to filter itself. The right people move closer. The people who benefited from your lack of boundaries fade out. Some people stop texting. Good. Some people get confused because you are no longer chasing. Good. Some people disappear when you stop giving them what they used to take from you for free. Also good. When you are genuinely okay on your own, people either respect you more or remove themselves. Both are good outcomes. If a relationship can only survive when you are always shrinking, always worrying, always chasing, always fixing, then what is surviving there is not real connection. It is one-sided dependency. Freedom begins when you no longer treat being chosen by someone as proof of your worth. The goal is not to punish toxic people. The goal is to become the kind of person who is no longer easy to control. And that leads to the final truth. You do not need to become cold. You just need to stop being so easy to manipulate. You do not need to become harsh. You do not need to learn how to cut people with your words. You do not need to win every confrontation. You do not need to turn into someone numb. You just need to stop doing the 5 things that taught people they could walk through your boundaries without meeting resistance. Stop reacting too quickly. Stop explaining too much. Stop having boundaries with no consequence behind them. Stop being so afraid of being disliked that you betray yourself. Stop living as if you need other people to feel valuable. Once you do that, some people will get confused. Some will back away. Some will say you changed. But here is the truth. That is not proof that you are doing something wrong. That is proof that what used to work on you no longer works. Some people are only kind to you when you are smaller. Do not go back to being that version of yourself. You are not losing the right people. You are losing the control other people used to have over you. And what you gain back is not just their respect. It is yourself. You get back the ability to sit still without feeling guilty. You get back the right to say no without writing a speech. You get back your calm in situations that used to throw you into chaos. You get back a version of yourself that is no longer living in a permanent state of waiting to be approved. This week, do not try to fix everything. Pick one thing, just one. Next time someone says something that makes you uncomfortable, do not react immediately. Or, next time someone presses you for reasons behind your choice, do not explain more. Or next time someone disrespects you, reduce access. Or next time you want to say yes just to keep the peace, say no. Or next time you feel the urge to chase a one-sided connection, stop and let the silence speak. Then watch carefully who changes, who gets uncomfortable, who disappears. You can learn a lot about people after one single moment when you stop being generous with your own limits. If you've ever realized that you gave people too much room to walk across your boundaries, type 1 inch the comments. And if you want to keep building a version of yourself that is harder to dismiss, harder to manipulate, and no longer trapped in the fear of disappointing everyone, subscribe now. Thank you for staying all the way to the end, and I'll see you in the next video where we keep building stronger thinking, deeper emotional control, and real respect from the inside out.